Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Stay Faithful podcast. This is the Monday Night Niners Coast to Coast edition. Joining me, as always, is my buddies, my partners in crime, David McNiner, and Mr. Bryant Culp. How you guys doing tonight?
Great. It's Monday, which, typically Mondays aren't that good, but it's a pretty good Monday.
Yeah. Not bad for Monday. Bryant, how you doing, man?
I'm just really excited. I'm really excited. It's starting to get a little bit more lively in the news again. And I know we're gonna have a dead period here soon, but right now there's a lot of fun stuff to get into. Everybody's speculating, and we still have trade rumors. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. And Mondays is my favorite day of the week. It's that day to start everything. So good or bad, or you don't want to go in, but hey, we're here now, so let's do it.
Exactly. nothing to do it but to do it, right? Get to
That's
it. Indeed. All right. I know everybody, we want to talk about minicamp, but first, we got some news. Our old tight end, Ross the Boss Dwelly, signed with the Falcons. We knew he was signed on somewhere.
Well, yeah.
He said
this one guy I know used to tell me he's got the best hands on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Bryant.
Yep.
So I'm a big fan of Ross Dwelly. If people didn't know, you can go back and you can see the famous play in Green Bay. You've heard about the shot that was heard around the world, right? Well, this was the blocked punt that was heard around the world, right? Well, if you go and you check out that play, you'll catch Ross Dwelly in the end zone, and you'll catch the back of him. He has I wouldn't say a defective jersey, but there was definitely an issue. He has a 0-2 on the back of his jersey. On the front, it's 8-2. There's not a rip. There wasn't a jersey number, something getting ripped off. It's a 0. Somebody put a 0 in front of a 2 on someone's jersey. So I'm like, whoa, so I paused it. I take pictures, and I'm like, oh my God, where can I get a personalized jersey at? Right. So that's a good dream. I always wanted a Ross Dwelly 0-2 jersey. So I don't know.
Well, Ross is gone officially.
Don't say it like that. Everybody loves
officially.
Hey, when he was with us, he made decent money. $333,000 per catch.
Yeah, that's good money right there. I wish I could get paid that.
It is.
I mean, when you say it like that, guys, it sounds like he's a villain or something, man. Ross was
Well, the nickname "the Boss" could go either way, right? If you think of comic books, we're all Batman fans here, right? Penguin, boss. Riddler, a boss. Joker, the boss. Actually, what does Harley Quinn call it? Joker sometimes. Hey, boss. So he could be the villain of the story at the end of the day. We never know.
Never know.
Never know. But Ross is gone. That means these young tight ends we got on the team, they're going to have to step it up.
Cameron Latou and Braden Willis.
LaHoo, as you say?
Yeah, LaHoo, because we don't know. We saw him in preseason, and a lot of people were saying drop 2, but I don't know. It's he started to come around right before the injury. So,
he definitely played well that last preseason game versus Denver.
So I think I've learned my lesson a little bit, or maybe I just decided to be nicer. I used to give a former 49er a really hard time for being hurt all the time. You would say maybe hurt enough to be in the hospital. So I used to call him Hospital Ward, right? He was always hurt.
Yep.
Well, the last couple of seasons, he wasn't hurt so often, and he played a lot better. And, I take it back, Jimmy. I take it back. But those early years, Hospital Ward, I was yelling it at my TV. I think he could have heard it. So now I don't nickname any players anymore. Drop a two or McFlinchy or anything like that. Jimmy G. No, nobody. Your name is Richard.
McFlinchy. That's actually a good one.
McFlinchy.
Too.
I know that is a good one. Yep. Okay, so let's get to the main topic at hand. The 49ers just concluded their rookie minicamp over the weekend. All the rookies, the draftees, and the unsigned draftee guys showed up, participated. Before we get to the main topic, I want to get you guys just overall feel of seeing the rookies out there and how it makes you feel seeing these guys suit up for the first time, quote unquote suit up.
Well, getting their feet wet, starting to learn the system. All the other players that have been here are, they all have the edge on them, obviously.
Hey,
but at this point, it's just kind of nice to see them starting out, and that's all they're doing is starting out.
Yeah.
Conflicting reports, of course, on who did good and who did bad, but
yeah.
That's just how it is, right?
Yeah, that's right. Shout out to Dawn in the house. Good old Dawn Dotson, always showing up, always supporting. Thanks for coming. Brian, how do you feel about seeing the rooks out there just for the first time in some red and gold?
I got our number 1 draft pick right there.
I see it.
I'm super excited. Folks, if you don't know, I recycle jerseys. I do. If you're not on the team anymore, I take your name off and I put the new name plate on. So there is no love or loss. There is not going to be a penny spared. We are not throwing it in the trash. But,
hey, listen, that is the business of football from the fan perspective. All right.
So this is
like
actually,
you said, no penny spared.
This is actually Jalen Hurd. Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurd. Hurd. Yeah.
And his
and look, there's Batman.
We are Batman fans. But this is a practice jersey. And it doesn't have a name on it, so I don't. It was my Sam Darnold jersey. Now it's my, Ricky Purcell. You got to say it with a twang. But I'm really excited because these guys get to run around a little bit and they've been waiting to do something. So you got to definitely read all the articles. You can't leave one unread because, so-and-so David's going to write it like this and Ty's going to write it like this. And it's not wrong or right. It's just their perspective. This guy was running really fast and turned. And if it wasn't for the sun, he would have caught the ball. Well, this guy was running really fast and, he cut the wrong way. And then the ball just totally missed his hands. So it's just about the way you're telling the story. So for me, I love telling stories. If you guys don't get the energy, I'm one of those guys. I like to talk and tell people stuff. So I seen in the highlights, number 14 was fantastic. And then, after that, I just got pumped because we made the right choice.
Yeah, I'm with you. It was just good to see the rookies out there. There's always a lot of fanfare after the draft. We drafted this guy, and then we go back and we start watching all of their college tape, see what they look like. But then when they walk out, with that gold helmet, a red, even just a practice jersey, you see them and you feel good about it. Like, okay, they're officially like one of our guys. They're officially one of our players now. Yeah. So it's good to see them out there. Oh, defenders wore white jerseys, but it's good to see them out there just, representing the team on the practice field. You can see in certain the videos and pictures and stuff that has been floating out there. You can see Levi Stadium in the background from the practice field. So it really makes you feel like, okay, these guys are at home now. They're in, part of the 49er empire officially. So it's good to see them out there. And it felt good to see them, doing some drills, doing actual football drills, right? They're not training for the 40 or the 3-cone shuttle or training for the broad jump, things like that. They're actually doing some football stuff, even on a limited basis. So it felt good, just see that. And it got me super excited, for the off season and what training camp may hold.
Yeah.
But right, you touched. Wait, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're on fire. Like it's what to come, right? So what's next to come? You're either going to make preseason, and that's really what it is. That's why you guys hear me all the time saying I want 6 or 8 preseason games a year. Why? Why do you want that many games? Fans can go, right? You can make it cheaper. You can revenue money, bring in money, because people aren't going to want to pay the same amount of money for a game that doesn't count, right? And then you get to see these players. So now they've cut these preseasons down so far. Now it's 2, almost 1.5 games to really watch. Back when, for me, when I started watching really hard in 96, 97, that's when I started watching football really, really, like I understood it. I didn't just know that that's the 49ers logo. I actually understood a lot more. So there was 5 games. The Niners usually had 5 preseason games. And I know we usually got stuck with the Hall of Fame game, but I think even before that, we still would have like 5 normal preseason games. And then they started going down to 4. And for me, it's something that really exciting because, again, you don't know what this player is going to do. You haven't heard anything about these players. The scouts said, hey, draft these guys. The 49ers go and draft them. And now you're doing exactly what I'm doing. You're going into YouTube. You're trying to find some highlight to say, oh, man, Tanner Mordecai, look out for him, guys. I'm telling you, that's my dude, right? So, yeah, I'm really excited because did you guys know Tanner can run like super fast? He's like 4'6".
Run like the wind.
Like the next Josh Johnson. So Josh Allen. I mean, I tell you what, let me get the names right, but I'll tell you about him.
Yeah. I want to say real quick, shout out to Jason in the house. Always good to see you, Jason, whether in the chat or anywhere. And shout out to Steve-O. Thanks for joining us. But yeah, I'm a big preseason fan myself. And it's all about watching the young guys and seeing how they operate out there on the field for the first time. So, I loved it when we had a bunch of preseason games. I was sad when we went from 4 to 3.
Yeah.
Because I think that steals an extra game away from the young guys to get acclimated and to really get an additional look at what they can do and help prepare them, for the season.
Yep. And it's not just a look from our team too, but we're doing the same thing. We're doing the same thing. We're looking at other teams' last preseason games and seeing who they're going to cut. And then we're saying, okay, oh man, we can get that guy. He's a little bit better than anybody we got right here, but we really like this guy. But if we could get that guy, we got a spot for him at the table, right? No, that's not right. But when you do have more chairs, and more options to see somebody, then you're like, okay, expand the roster a little bit. They've done that. You want to have more games, okay, but why take away the preseason games where you're eliminating the opportunity to see these guys first get used to playing football, warm up, and then showcase their talents for other teams? It seems like if you don't get drafted in the NFL, you really get cited. It's like they don't want to deal with you. Oh, go Arena Football League. You heard about the Europe League? Go play there.
NFL Europe.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Remember
Shout
that?
out to the Dragons, right?
The Barcelona Dragons. Oh man, David, how do you feel about preseason? Just real quick, get your perspective.
I would rather have 4 games, and it's not necessarily getting the young guys acclimated. It's getting a better look at these guys that are trying to make the team. It's getting our veterans one more game to get into game shape. And honestly, it seems like since they cut down practices, and I mean, I need to actually look at the numbers, but since they cut down practices and cut down on preseason games, have injuries really dropped off at all?
Nope. I think they've increased, my opinion.
And, my opinion is you have to be in football shape to play football. And it's hard to get into football shape when you're, less practice and one less preseason game, right? I'm a big fan of 4 preseason games. I am.
Yeah, especially when that last 4th game used to be mostly the young guys. You'd see the vets for a series, and then they're gone. then you're really getting into, okay, let's see these young guys play football. Let's see how they go through a full game, right? They played 4 quarters basically. And that was exciting. I used to love that. I used to love going to that last preseason game just for that. And
I was at my dad's friend's house, my dad co-worker's friend's house, and we were having a really big barbecue. It was a preseason game. I think it was a Saturday game too. And I'm in the house and I'm watching it. Again, little kid, like 98, maybe 97, somewhere around there, right? 49ers were playing. Steve Young was at quarterback. It was preseason game. Well, we had a punt or something like that. He didn't score a touchdown. We didn't finish the drive. And she got up, slammed her drink down, said some words, and started walking away. And I'm like, hey, she's like, that's the end of the game for me, right? And I'm like, well, isn't there still? And she's like, nope, that's it. Steve Young's sitting down. The game's over for me. And I remember that being like the second game or maybe the third. I think maybe it was the third game. But they didn't play a lot for the starters. And now, like that fourth game, it was just all straight rookies, And
yep.
I really remember liking it better that way.
Yeah, same here. I don't know. From a fan perspective, I think it's a shame that it was chopped so much. But the owners, they want what they want. They rather have that extra game, and we all know it's all about revenue at the end of the day. And now they're pushing for even another game with an extra bye week, so we could be seeing 2 preseason games. And maybe even less practices. David, you hit on something real important with the CBA now. There's even less practices. And it's a good time to transition to this mini camp and the reports that have been coming out. And it's weird that after basically one session, that people are giving grades and saying who did bad, who did good, who struggled, etc. from one mini camp session. Is this right? Is this what we have to look forward to for the remainder of the off season? What do you guys think about that? David's so upset he put up Vader. That's all you got to see, folks.
When you put up so much money for a player and the expectations are what they are, and they get to finally show what they can do on the field, and you get a couple of like regular 49ers, because it's not the entire team, or it's not the entire team doing all the drills, or what. It's not a real game. It's practice. So when you get to see them, getting in there a little bit with the other players, it's something to talk about. Now, how much is it? We're the 49ers, so they always have to stretch it. Whatever we're doing, they stretch it just a little bit more, right? But since we were in the Super Bowl last year and we got really close, and everything seems to be doing great with Brock Purdy's recovery from the prior year, almost getting to the Super Bowl, and everything since 2017, the Niners have been just magnified ever since So even before that, we were magnified, but people didn't really care too much about us when we were Chip Kelly, or really care too much about the Jimmy T. Like us fans, we cared, and we weren't very proud of what we had, but we had it, and it's like, you gotta support what you got, but it's and right now we got Kyle, and he's having a hard time getting to the promised land, but he can get there. He's just not getting it finished, but it's not all him either, right? And that's, I think, the biggest story is people are blaming him, and they're not quite saying it's all on him without, they're not directly saying it, but they are saying it. And you got to think about it too. It's not just one person. It's all these guys. There's 53 guys on the team. There's how many coaches? There's all the players, all the personnel, everybody in the office. Even us, I like to think as content creators or us YouTuber guys, just guys, right? Come together and talking football. I feel like we have a little bit of, something that helps, propel the 49ers to greatness, right? But yes, there's something to talk about. And right now there's something to talk about, because again, somebody's perspective. So and so said it didn't look that great, and so and said, well, hey, and tried to sweeten it up, and I don't know. I don't want you peeing in my Cheerios, okay? And telling me it's going to be okay. But, I do want you to, you don't have to tell me the sky is falling when, just one raindrop hit your forehead too, So it's like.
Exactly. There's a difference between perspective or selling your narrative. And I think it's a lot more of the latter going on right now, especially after this OTA session. Right, David.
Real quick,
give me your thoughts, man.
I gotta say this. I gotta say this. The reason the speculation is so hype and is so high right now, and the hype is so real, it's a distraction to get us away from the contract talks.
Of whom? VA?
Yeah, we're not talking about it anymore. We're not talking about trading Debo. We're not talking about any of that. All that's, like anybody who's still talking about that is really reaching. Everybody knows there's not really a potential possibility of that happening right now. So it's like everybody's like, okay, quit being a conspiracy theory, guy out there right now. Just, they're going to be playing. They're going to be playing. And that's, again, it's a distraction. So that narrative has changed, and this is the best way to do it.
Well, that's because we know that was BS from the beginning, and they put it out there to once again have that narrative, get their clicks and views, blah blah blah, and none of it happened. So now they're like, let's turn the page real quick and just talk about something else like it never happened. See, but David, tell me about these guys and grading rookies after a day.
You got to be kidding me.
There you go.
Right now we do have guys beefing, and Steve-O mentioned it, like, few 49er reporters. I don't think I should name them, but they have conflicting reports on who did good, who did bad. And I've actually read several different stories on who did good and who did bad and heard different things. But this is their first mini camp, first taste and experience of the NFL. Mm-hmm. They played NCAA football. Now you're in the big leagues. So here they are. The offensive guys are getting their feet wet in Kyle's playbook, and the defensive guys are just starting to learn the system. Mm-hmm. So at this point, no. You can't be graded anything. I haven't even graded the draft from 2023 yet. Just so y'all know. I haven't.
Yeah.
At the end of this year, I will though.
Yeah. At least give it. You really need to give these guys a year or two to see who they are, what they can do, mm-hmm. before you can truly evaluate them. And it's funny, you listen to longtime analysts and experts and people in football, coaches. Let's specify them. Even they say out their own mouths, hey, it takes us 2 seasons to see what a guy really is, right? Unless he's on the opposite ends of the spectrum where he's dynamic or just terrible. It takes us a long time to evaluate these guys. So to come out after one mini camp and be like, oh man, this guy, he was struggling. I don't know about him. Oh, this pick might have been a reach, etc. I think it's preposterous. I think it's terrible that they would even say something like that. Even when you think about their journey up to this point, right? They last played football early January. From then, they've been training on combine drills, right? Running 40s, doing short shuttles, broad jumping, high jumping. They haven't been really doing any football related items. Like, this is the first time in months that they've been asked to, hey, let's go out and play some actual football right now. So to criticize them is insane. And Did anybody know this? These practice sessions, they go for a little over an hour. That's it. It's not a whole 3 hour, 4 hour thing. It's in the bargaining agreement. They can't be out there for a long time. So it's just an hour.
Is
So
it too
we saw
hot?
them. We
Is it
saw
too
them.
hot?
You can't
they
practice them a lot.
shade?
You can't
Do they
practice
use
them. I don't know
shade with
why the
water?
reason is. I don't know why the reason is, but it's in the CBA. They can't be out there for a long time. So they're like there for an hour, hour, 15 minutes. So we saw them doing all their warm-up drills, all those videos, blah, 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 which is great. But then they do a short 7-on-7 period, and that's it. It's over. You're done. Go away.
Do you think the warm up is part of the 7, their whole time out there?
Yeah.
I
Just the
wonder if we
entire
could
thing.
write a letter. I wonder if we could suggest, for a suggestion, NFL, maybe you do the stretches inside where it's not so hot, and then they can come out, and then they can start, once they come outside and the sunlight exposes their skin, boom, right? Then the time you start the clock, right? But if you got a guy halfway in the door and out the door, his time doesn't officially start yet, right? He's holding the door for the other people to come through. It's getting crazy, guys. These guys get paid how many millions of dollars and they don't actually do anything.
That's part of the bargaining agreement. It's in the practice schedule. It's in the contracts. They only have a certain amount of time. And for these rookie camps, they're out there for an hour, hour and 15 tops. And they got to get out of there. And it's still mid-May. It's not hot. It's not hot. And we're talking about, the weather in Santa Clara. It's not burning hot out there right now. But that's just the way it is for all teams around the league. But for that condensed hour that they're out there for the first time doing actual football drills, learning things that they need to do, it's really unfortunate that people would criticize them in any way for something that, they see as wrong. Especially with Tanner Mordecai and what's the other quarterback that was out there? I don't even know his name.
Davidson.
Yeah. Like, is this what we're doing? Do you really need clicks and views that bad that you would try to give a report? Oh, this guy, he struggled to connect and he struggled to throw a pass and he struggled to catch. Why?
And
again, it's that perspective. The sun was in his eyes. One guy will write, the other guy will write, he tripped on a blade of grass. So,
that tricky grass, it'll get you every time.
I read a report where our corners, Renardo Green and the undrafted rookie and the invite to camp, these guys all tore it up. They were all over Purcell, and it's like, this is his first time in this offense. This is his, learning period. You can't expect him to catch everything that comes his way.
But wait,
at this point, they're just getting on the field and we're just taking a short look at them, and they'll be back for, mandatory camp, which is when?
I think in June, July, one of them.
Yeah.
Wait, Brian, did you say, but wait, why?
Why, David? Why can't we expect them to catch everything? Did the football change from college to pros? I mean, there's a white stripe on the football in college, right? And then we go to a brown football.
Yeah.
So is the size of the football, is it harder? Do the guys just throw it that much faster? If you can catch a football, right, you should be able to catch a football. And if you're a good, receiver, you should be able to catch anything. It shouldn't matter really who your quarterback's at, but it's like you see people not diving for the ball or not going all out, right? Oh, they don't want to hit their knuckles on the ground, right? Well, that's because that person's not going all out. My buddy Anthony, it doesn't matter where I throw the football at. I know if I throw it anywhere around his area, he's going to catch it. he's going to catch it because he can catch anything. And he's not getting paid millions of dollars to drop the ball or to catch the ball. He's catching it because he wants to be great, right? So if you're in practice and you're not afraid to look bad and you're just doing what you wanted, but they're holding up. They're not going all the way to the ground. They're not trying to get dirty. They're out there for an hour and 15 minutes, and 15 minutes of it was stretching. So, they're not even playing football. So I'm not, saying what you're saying is wrong at all, but it shouldn't be any difference. Practice should be practice. And I'm wearing my high school t-shirt tonight, guys, my high school, where I went to play football at. And I'm just thinking what we're talking about right now, my coaches should be probably put in jail right now for what they made me do in high school. Let's be real, right? There's no players union, but there's supposed to be some kind of parental guidance out there. There's supposed to be some
the kids.
Where they're saying, hey, these kids can't just be running around, like that one over there fell on the ground and he said wipe some dirt on it. No, he's actually dehydrated. You should get him underneath, right? But these guys are getting paid again, and they're not. I think, again, we should try to push, just a suggestion, folks. Can we do the stretches inside the facility where it's not so hot and they're not going to take away the time that they're going to actually be on the field? Because there's only one football, right? So how many people can literally practice in that hour? You only have how many quarterbacks? How many people can run a route during that time? This isn't football practice was like 4 hours for me in high school. So
if you're out there for hours.
Well, you get targeted 4 times. You got to catch it and run it to the end zone all 4 times.
Jerry Rice did.
But hold on.
I'm totally dogging the.
Hold on. So I wanted to bring that up. I think the big thing that's missing out of all this is context. Context is key.
Mm-hmm.
Like Bryant, you said Jerry Rice caught it all 4 times and ran to the end zone. Jerry Rice also had Joe Montana and Steve Young throwing him the football in practice.
Not Tanner Mordecai and some guy with the last name of Davidson.
Exactly. Right? And no one is saying, were these passes accurate? Were they behind? Were they out front? Etc. You hear something like, oh, Purcell just struggled. Well, what do we mean by that? Right? Oh, this quarterback looked good. Well, what do you mean he looked good? What does look good mean? And I was reading, David, you said one guy said, Purcell struggled to get separation. I read from another person, he was out there just separating from everybody. No one could guard him.
It's so great. They couldn't even find him on the field. The quarterback, he was running so clean and crisp.
Clean. Yeah.
Beating everybody.
And it's like, what can you do? And it's weird. Isaac Garendo, we know he runs a 4.3, which means he's fast. We've seen him on tape break big runs for Louisville, right? Someone actually wrote, Isaac Garendo, he looks pretty quick on the field. Well, we already know that. We already know he's fast. Give us something more, something with some substance. Add some context to it. Did he outrun everyone? What did he do? And they won't explain that. There's no context added to these reports. We need to check what's in their Gatorade bottles when they're out there, because they might be drinking on the job.
Ooh. We're talking about rookies.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that a 49er Hall of Famer passed away? Right?
Yes.
Jamie Johnson.
The great Jimmy Johnson.
Yes. And a long time ago when I first heard his name, I'm thinking, what? This is back during the 49ers Cowboys rivalry in the 90s. And I'm going, you mean the coach of the Cowboys? No. This guy played for us a very long time ago.
Yep.
And he's a Hall of Famer for a reason. Yeah. So, we're talking about the rookies in the future, but gotta shout out the past, and not everybody lives forever. It's kind of sad,
Yeah.
He was a great player.
Yeah. He was a true lockdown cover corner. A real ball hawk. We hear that term a lot. Oh, this guy's a ball hawk. He goes after it. That was Jimmy Johnson back in the day. Right? He was a guy that was true cover man, played the ball well in the air, had great hands. I'm trying to do some research to see, was he a former like wide receiver in his life? Because he can make all the catches, as they say. And he's truly a 49er great. And doing my podcast, I tend to talk to older people, older gentlemen who saw like the games in the 60s and 70s, and I asked them, hey, give me some of your all-time greats. That is, Jimmy Johnson is a name that's always mentioned, just because how good he was. So definitely RIP to Jimmy Johnson, a true 49er great. Very rare to find a guy like him in the league. But Steve-O says something very interesting here. He said, I care less. I mean, this Anshul, my bad. I read Steve-O's name and picked the quote. He said, I can care how they look in practice in rookie minicamp.
Okay, but
let's see how they look during the game.
Truth.
Let's talk about that for a second. If you don't look good in practice, right, or before the heat is on when it's time to make money, why would I put you in that situation? If I can't trust you to be calm in the middle of not doing anything at all before the storm is around, why would I put you in there when I have to depend on you?
Yeah, but what's tricky about just sports in general and athletes? Some guys are practice warriors and they look great in practice, but you get them in a game and it's like, what happened to the dude from practice?
Mm-hmm. You mean Trent
Who's
Taylor?
This scrub. Oh, I ain't saying no names. That wasn't me. That wasn't me, ladies and gentlemen.
So when you have like players that look really good in practice, sometimes it's because they are doing something in practice that they're really good at and comfortable about. And then you put them into the game, and this is different for every person, right? But you put them into the game and then you make them do something that they're a little bit not comfortable about doing, right? Mm-hmm. But if they're doing the same thing, running that, sweep to the right, like they were doing every day in practice, and they're really good at it, and you put them in there, but this time it didn't go so well, sometimes that does, destroy someone's confidence too. And I look at it too in a couple different ways. You got players that play really good in practice, right? They pay attention to practice, right? But coach don't put them in. That was me, right? I didn't get put in, right? But then you got the players that are over there dry humping the other guy over there on the sideline, doing the whatever guy things or whatever, horsing around. And, you got the other guys who's trying to listen, because I was a quarterback. I was third string quarterback, so I didn't get in it very often, but I still knew the plays, and I'm trying to listen, and I'm not trying to get humped on by, a bunch of guys when I'm trying to play football, right? But these guys over here, again, I'm short guy, right? I'm not the biggest guy, so maybe my height and my size had something to do with it too. But when you see these guys are horsing around, and then they get put into the game, but they're a gamer, right? You're like, no, you're lazy during practice, and you horsed around the entire time, and because I'm not, a beast, a big house. That's the only reason you're in there. Because and it happens even in jobs, in real life situations. You guys got people that just sit back and let other people do it. They take the trash out. They do all the other stuff, right? And then that guy who's just sitting back, when the boss comes through, they're painting, they're looking good, they're wiping the last bit of fingerprints off the wall, right? Or whatever, right? And they're the closer, right? They're the ones that look good. They're the ones that's handing you the key saying, hey, man, I'm glad you bought this car here, just sign right here. And then they're walking in, I just sold a car because I got the signature right here. That's maybe being in the right time at the right moment, but you're not doing you're not going the whole distance, So somebody like Jerry Rice, who was a gamer in practice and a gamer in the game, is of all time. And that's why he is the all-time GOAT. That's why he is, anybody asks, who's the best player in football ever? It's Jerry Rice, because he did it he wasn't this in practice and this in the game. He was everything.
Well, real quick, Tony Cope is laughing a little too hard at your being on the bench stories here. She might have some insight that we might need to pick her brain one day. So, Tony, we're going to have to get you on.
Tune in.
Verify some of these stories. But you're right. It's some guys that horse around, they're crap in practice, and they get in the game and they play well. And it's like,
and they played well one time, so the next week they're the savior from last week, so they get to play again. And that's somebody like, it's somebody almost like, not saying Juwan Jennings is that guy, but it's almost somebody like him who plays, who practices, and they only throw him the ball every once in a while, right? So then, oh man, last game we threw it to him on third down. Let's try him again right now. But you won't try him on first down. You won't try him on second down. You forget about him the rest of the game. But you're like, oh yeah, remember last week or 2 weeks ago, that was a good play. Let's try him again. Now, is he a gamer? Because if he's a gamer, you throw the ball to him in the first play or the second play, right? But no, you're only looking for him in third down. Why? Because everybody else is covered and everybody else is being, covered by the better players or something. And this guy's just like, let's say maybe being lazy a little bit, and gets open, and it's like, hey, I'm open over here. They don't even know I'm over here, So is he like, again, I'm not saying he's lazy, but, is that the same kind of mentality? It's like, this guy's not being featured. Why isn't he being featured other downs? And sooner or later, they're going to figure out they only throw the ball to him on third down. So they're going to take him away too. Is that why we brought Trent Taylor back? I don't know.
No. Well, let's put that in perspective. Juwan Jennings' role has changed this past season. He's not just third and Juwan. He's first and second also. Kyle calls his number. Kyle trusts him.
Yep.
You got to put that out there. I mean,
yeah,
what bigger trust? What bigger trust is there?
He'll take Debo off the field and put Juwan in there to run a play. He trusts Juwan.
Think about that. Just what bigger trust is there than you're in the Super Bowl and you need a touchdown and you call a play where your number one read is Juwan Jennings.
Again,
that's ultimate trust right there.
It's like, why? Was they sleeping on him? Was everybody else covered? And they said, okay, he's our only option. And it's third down again.
He can just get open. JJ has proved that he can get open. He's a nightmare. Anshul says Trent Taylor is just a camp body. He was signed if we didn't know, if we couldn't draft who we wanted. I agree. I don't see him going far on the roster.
At this point, he's a camp body. I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad player, but I think his chances of making the team diminished when we took 2 wide receivers in the draft.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
I mean, the 2 guys we took too, like Purcell's runs a 4.41 140. Cowing runs a 4.38. They're really not that far apart, but they're pretty quick. Debo runs a 4.48, and Brandon Ayuk runs a 4.50 even, right? Trent Taylor is a 4.63 guy.
Yeah.
So maybe
he runs Chris routes though. He can get open.
Good hands too. You guys go back.
He's got great hands. He's got great hands. I give him that. He will snatch a ball out the air.
He was Juwan before Juwan was here. He was our replacement.
Before the foot injuries and everything, you are exactly right.
Yeah.
He was that guy. You saw Kyle lined him up in the slot, and Kyle would call his number. Jimmy, hey, the number one read here.
It's kind of hard to say he's a camp body when we know Kyle doesn't necessarily trust rookies. And I mean, somebody like maybe Owen's son, I could see maybe replacing Trent Taylor, but that's because of Owen's son's last name. And if Owen's son, comes to play, which supposedly the reports he's doing great, but Trent Taylor is one of those veterans. And if you don't believe me, guys, remember who Tevin Coleman is? Why did we have him on the team? Why did he keep bringing him back? So this is
that was Kyle's guy.
Think about this. Trent Taylor. Trent Taylor hasn't done much in Cincinnati when he was up there. The chances of us cutting him and someone picking him up, I could see us putting him on the practice squad and keeping him around just in case.
Right? Oh yeah, most definitely. He's definitely.
So I can't say he's a camp body. Chances are they have a plan to keep him around.
Yeah.
But with all the talent, I mean, this loaded wide receiver room, Debo, Ayuk, Jennings. Then you go to the new rookies. You got Purcell and Cowling. Then you got guys like Ronnie Bell, Danny Gray.
Hello.
Tariq Owens. There's quite a few I'm missing.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, out of all those guys, we typically only keep 6. 4 tight ends normally. Like what? 4 running backs, 5 running backs, including Juice.
Yeah.
I honestly think they might be changing things up this year. Like, look at the tight end we signed, the NFL free agent. He's not necessarily, anyone's number 2. He's probably a number 3 or 4 tight end.
He's more special teams.
We got Latu and Willis, who are cheap.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we're going to have for the next several seasons very cheap.
Yep.
So could we carry 3 tight ends and 7 wide receivers? This is all yet to be seen. Yeah. None of us are going to know what's going to happen until final cut down day.
Of course.
So I 100% see us carrying 7 wide receivers, especially with the kickoff rules the way they are now.
Yeah. Well, you can easily see 5 suiting up on game day. And then I can easily see us having 3 more in reserve. Right? It'd be 3 more just on the practice squad, just waiting in case someone gets injured or they need to be called up late in the season. They're there. But the pecking order is something you touched on. The pecking order is deep. We know the top 3. Then you got the 2 rookies who are drafted. So a guy like Trent Taylor and Danny Gray, they're low on the totem pole right now. And we didn't even mention Ronnie Bell. And we didn't mention Chris Conley also.
Yes.
Remember Chris Conley? Kyle found some trust in him last season and got him into games and called plays for him.
Yep, when we had injuries. Man. That's the only time you guys got into it. Conley only played during special teams for most of the season, and he was turning out a really good gunner. And because of his size, he was able to tackle some people. It would have either been Conley or it would have been Jennings, who would have been MVP in the Super Bowl, because Conley had that real big hit on the sidelines. It did.
Yep. He made a big catch too.
But it's right now the only 2 wide receivers that are for sure going to make this team. And I know, Ty, you're not going to like it, but because of their contracts, it's the only 2 that's going to make the team that are for sure going to make the team is Debo. And it's Ayuk. Jennings, if something happens to Jennings, they'll let him go. His contract, though, the price of he's not going, like we can move off of him. The same thing what David's saying with the tight ends. We could stash a tight end, but because they're cheap. Well, if they're so cheap, the next year we can draft another tight end. And that's what we did this year from last year. They weren't okay with Latu. Maybe they'll give him a chance, but if he doesn't show out, they're going to move off of him. We have too many wide receivers that we took in the first round from last year and this year to say, okay, we're not going to have 7, maybe even 8 wide receivers making the team. So you can move a wide receiver to tight end. We've seen Jordan Reed do it. You could move Juice to tight end if you needed to, in a pinch, right? So I see us losing a couple tight ends because Braden Willis last year, it was Braden Willis, number 9, correct?
Yeah.
When he went down the field and was on special teams, there was a muffed punt. He didn't dive on it. He pulled the Cam Newton thing, and you can't make everybody, live for one play. But when it's one play people are going to remember you from. And Cam Newton, everybody's going to remember Cam Newton not jumping down on the football in the Super Bowl. Well, Braden Willis, number 9, there was an opportunity for you to jump down on the football, but you decided not to. And guess what? We didn't get the ball. And you know what? Maybe that's why you're not going to make the team. But it's just really weird that they went and drafted tight ends last year and they do it again this year because they're cheap. So you're going to keep getting cheap players until you get one good one. And that's what we've been doing. That's why Kittle's our only good tight end, right? We've had one guy who could catch for how many seasons and one guy who could block. But if you put them together, they might be really good, right? But you can't put 12 on the field. You only put 11 on the field. So both of those guys are going to be gone. And you initially said it. You said it. Where is he at? The Atlanta now?
Yeah. Dwelly's in Atlanta. Well, with Jennings, big thing, he still hasn't signed his tenure yet. So we still got to get that out the way. He's got to sign that 1 year tenure. Right? And it's only for 1 year. So we don't know what's going to happen beyond 2024 after he signs it, unless they, give him an extension somewhere, somehow. But that 1 year tenure, we know is cheap, which they love. But he might be looking for more. It's a wait and see game with him. But they know they got to keep like the back part of the roster, everyone who's not a starter, as cheap as possible. So they're going to keep them cheap. That's why they're drafting these players. That's why they covet these picks. That's why they love it when they get all these comp picks. And they got a few more in next year's draft. So they're going to keep doing that. And they're going to keep signing these players. And the hope is always that some of these guys hit. Like Cam Latu is supposed to be a guy who can block well and catch and do great things after the catch. Like he's supposedly another potential yak bro. We got to hope that comes to fruition. Right now, we don't have a tight end number 2 right now. So it's all a big wait and see.
The tight end 2 could be Cameron Latu.
It could be.
Or it could be Braden Willis.
And that's the hope. That's the hope. It's one of these guys. Right? Yep. It's one of them.
You never know. The undrafted rookie, and Steve-O, you're right. We didn't draft anyone this year. But the undrafted rookie, Mason Pline, could be it.
Drafted rookie, or is he just a guy that we got off the bench, from another team, or was he a drafted free agent?
He was he's a UDFA. He's a rookie.
Yeah.
So that would count then. Yeah. Because we got 2 last year as well, right? We got Cameron Latu, and then we did somebody also an undrafted free agent last year as well.
Well, we got Cameron Latu in the 3rd, comp pick. It's really a 4th, right?
Yeah.
And then you got Braden Willis, I think in the 7th, right?
Yeah.
So, we drafted those guys. I mean, that's 4 years of cheap contract right there.
Right.
And then, Charlie Warner hits the free agent market. Atlanta signs him for 3 years, $12 million, which, for a tight end that hasn't done much but block, that's a really good contract.
Yeah.
And then, Ross Dwelly, they can have him. He's good for $333,000 a catch. So, if Atlanta's willing to pay that, they can go for it, right?
Weird moves by them because they already have a
Ryan
guy.
It's really weird because it's like, because you were in the league for a couple of years, you can ask for a higher rate, right?
Yeah.
But can you really? You haven't done anything, right? And then if you look at, and this is why they're going to say something about Brock Purdy. This is what you got me thinking about. He was drafted Mr. Irrelevant, right? Oh, but you won the Super Bowl, but you had to have all these people around you, right? So then how far are they going to pull his contract down because of where he was drafted? If he was an undrafted free agent, and this is what's happening to Juwan Jennings, right? Why are you going to pay him what somebody like Brandon Ayuk's going to ask for, right? It's like he wasn't even drafted that high. So, his talent level couldn't even be there, right? But then you find players, and Brock Purdy is one of those players. You find somebody who's drafted in a weird spot that comes out and they play better than other players. Oh, it's because there's talent around him. No, and you can say that all you want, but if you don't have the right person there at the controls, It doesn't matter who you have. You can have the fastest guy in the world, but if you can't figure out how to get the ball to him at the right moment, so you don't always have to have the most talented quarterback or the smartest quarterback. You just have to have the quarterback that makes the right decisions at the right time. And that's what Brock's doing.
Well, hold up. You talk about Brock, but this happens to players all the time, all throughout the league, right? Guys get drafted somewhere and they outplay their contract. We hear it all the time. Oh, that guy was a 6th round pick. Oh, this guy was a 5th round pick. I mean, look at our roster by itself.
I don't know. I don't think that's fair to say they outplayed their contract. They overexceeded their expectations, right? Because you're a 7th round pick or a 6th round pick. You're not even expected to make the team, right? But you made the team. So, we're going to give you a contract, right? And, it's whatever we're going to pay you, right? But then when you get on the field, again, it's like, whoa, this guy's a gamer. He's a game changer. He's yards after the catch or whatever. But you didn't know that until you got on the field. So, again, it's like once you're on the field, take all the money, all the paychecks, the fancy cars, the cool watches, everything, the endorsements, all that's off because you're 11 on 11 then. So it really doesn't matter. The most, so again, it's like I would like to say it better. Sorry, Ty. You overexceeded your expectations. I think that's because
I was going to do the same thing. I was going to say the same thing.
Because like you could take somebody like Sam Darnold and say, well, you give him $10 million, right? Or $8 million to be a quarterback, but he's not worth it. Says who? He signed that paper that somebody wanted to pay him that, are you just mad because you didn't get paid that or you're not making that? If anyone is in that situation and someone offers them that, you'd be foolish not to take it, right? If someone says, paint this wall for $10 and you do it, but the next guy comes up and says, I'd do it for $50 and he gets $50 to do it, it doesn't necessarily mean, it just means it's the price, So I guess if you have your standard here and you say, because I'm a 1st rounder, I deserve this much money. But when you don't exceed that expectation, your performance level, do you give money back? Do you give money back?
That's the key. Was your performance level of a 1st rounder? Are you playing up to a high standard? And I think that's it. And we see that all the time. That's the words we should be using. Like from George Kittle to Fred Warner, like 5th round picks, right? Diamador Lenore, was he 5th or 6th round? Something like that. These guys were drafted, low. He was a 5th also. Wow. We be hitting on those 5th rounders, don't we? but you see them, they get on the field, they play, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, this guy is far exceeding our expectations. Man, I'm glad we got him in the 5th. Like if we were to redraft today, he's going 1st round or 2nd round, something like that.
And why? Why are they so glad to get him in the 5th round? Because of the money, right?
Well, because they're cheaper. Yes, of course. They're much cheaper. But
if everybody was like open introduction, like you come into a job, entry level, everybody's getting paid this until you show what you can do, then
exactly
then it's not really fair either, right? Because then people would be like, I want the ball all the time because I want to get paid. But you can't play like that, right? So but again, if everybody came in at the same level, then you couldn't can't do that.
No, you got to take advantage of your opportunities. And when they come, show what you can do. And you'll be rewarded. That's the way it goes. I don't think draft position has anything to do with it. Because we've seen like through the history of this league, and we can go through it from team to team, players to players. There were guys drafted low, who are legends of the game now. So when we talk about contract negotiations, it's like, hey, yeah, I was drafted low, but now I'm your starting guard. I'm your starting running back. I'm this, and I'm helping lead the league and helping you win. That's when you negotiate your contract and get paid.
I don't think they want me in the union, guys. I don't think the players want me in the union. Sorry.
They won't want you in there. No.
They don't want me in there.
They'll kick you out immediately. Who is this guy?
I would look at him and say, if you were
send him back to the bench,
would you have this same opportunity, right? And they could say, well, maybe I'd have a better opportunity. Yeah. So then you have a better opportunity or worse opportunity somewhere else, right? But you're given this opportunity here, and you've been made great, or you are great, however you want to state it. You're great, right? And you can stay on our team and be great. But now you want to hold us, or we don't want to pay you what you think you're worth. What are you really worth? I mean, like, so it's like, oh, I think I'm worth this. Okay, but would you have been worth that again if you were on any other team? Would you have been that if you like if I made the same steps, but I went through the Minnesota Vikings, locker room? Would you still be a Hall of Famer? Well, I don't have this guy over there or that guy, so you can't. It's like, guys, I don't know. They don't want me in the union because I'd tell them, you guys can't just change teams. It's a career. You become a 49er, you got to stick it out, right? Oh, well, I could be better over there. Yeah, go be better over there then.
David, what you gotta say, man? We've been hogging the mic. I'm sorry.
I'm just enjoying the conversation, believe it or not.
Okay. We aren't shutting you out on purpose.
I'm a big you should earn your way,
Most definitely.
And that's just how it should be. You get drafted into the NFL. Here we are. We have, Jamarcus Russell back in the day taking number 1. Oh, he's going to be the next great thing. This one scout named, Mel Kiper said, and that didn't exactly work out.
Yeah. Wasn't Sam Bradford drafted number 1 overall?
Oh man, there are so many quarterbacks that were drafted high and even in the top 10 that just didn't work out. Like Josh Rosen, and it's not every player you draft you're going to hit on thing. That's not the case.
No.
If you hit on 50% of them, you're doing pretty good.
Doing darn good.
And I honestly think the Niners don't draft too bad, but the thing that drives me nuts is typically the year after they get drafted, we don't see enough of them to know anything.
Yeah.
Like Hufanga. Prime example is Hufanga. I'm watching him on special teams. The limited time he got to play, I'm sitting there going, this guy's got those instincts that you can't coach.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the right place at the right time. You cannot coach those instincts.
Yeah.
So, the off season when Tart left and, like everyone's like, oh, we got to draft a safety. We need to replace him, and I was like, well, we have Hufanga. Hufanga's going to start. I got told by so many fans, and I'm not going to name anybody, that Hufanga's he's not it. He's not going to be a starter. This is what I was told. And then he comes out and has a Pro Bowl year.
Yeah.
I know a football player want to see one, but it's hard to see one if they don't get a play.
Get on the field.
Kyle not playing rookies kind of drives me nuts. But you never know, right? Maybe something will happen like Mostert getting hurt. Here comes Elijah Mitchell. Or, Brunskill, which this might be a bad example. Brunskill gets hurt, and here comes Burford, which, he's still a young player. He's got room to grow. We'll see what happens there.
Burford played decent his rookie year. For a rookie, he played decent. What set him back is the following year, Brunskill returns, and they get it into her mind, oh, we got 2 guards. We can alternate them. We can have this guy play a couple of series, then bring in the next guy, or have this guy play a quarter and bring in the other guy. That it doesn't work that way, especially with the offensive line. Like, you need cohesion on the offensive line. Those guys need to work together. They need to be out there. You can't be swapping them left and right like they're wide receivers or running backs. It does not work that way. And I think that hurt our O-line overall. And I believe it hurt his development. Speaking of Spencer Burford.
Hey, we're going to see what happens this year because, we got I've heard reports, and I don't know if it's true, but one of these free agent rookie centers is going to be pushing Brendel for his job. It's like,
yeah. And
I'm not getting excited. I'm not getting excited about that yet because it's still, there's so much more to go. And, you know, Kyle likes his veteran rookies. If a rookie actually beats out Brendel, I could see Feliciano being our starting center for the season.
Could be. You never know. This guy is intriguing to me because he's like a pure center. Like that's what he played primarily. Like he wasn't bouncing around. Oh, I played some left tackle and I played some guard. This dude played center. That's all he played. Right? And he's built like a center and has the makeup of a center. So you never know. This is why I love camp. And I love when we had to go back to our, conversation earlier, 4 preseason games when we really got to see these young guys and how they looked on the field. Because he's a guy that I would hone in on, like, oh, he's in the game. Okay, let's check him out. Let's see how he's handling the line. Let's see how he's handling pressure.
Let me ask you guys something. When they do the teams, the joint team practices, do you guys get excited to maybe I'm weird. I know I'm weird, but when you see like Jimmy Garoppolo and he throws the interception against, what was it, the Broncos, was it? He threw it and they ran it in for a pick 6 or something like that. And then we heard the trash talking or whatever, right? You guys like hearing all that? I mean, like, I don't care if the players are doing it to each other and stuff like that, but like when I'm watching practice and stuff, or a game, I don't care what the players are saying to each other.
Nah.
I don't have any, bearing on what. I love George Kittle, but I don't care that he's looking for the camera to smile at and stuff like that. I want to watch the football game, right? So whoever's on the field, I want to watch the field. I remember watching the game in the 90s, like I said before, and I'd never seen the coach. I never knew who the coach was for the longest time, and then he retired, and then we got Steve Mariucci, and I had to go back and look to see what the old coach looked like. That's what the old coach looked like. Okay, now I know what he looks like, right? But you never seen the coach on the field. And that's my point. You didn't see all that. And now, I mean, at one point you didn't even see the time, the score on the time box. So, but getting back to my question, do you guys like hearing like, Jalen Ramsey, he's going to get so-and-so, because he picked him off. And now they're fighting. I don't care about East and West. That's what I'm getting at, I guess. I don't care about that drama. But do you guys care to hear about, all of that? Because I'm really, I tune out. I'm sorry.
David, you go first.
I don't really care to hear about any of it. It's James Richard Garoppolo threw a pick 6 in practice. What's new? It's just practice. It's not, it's not a game. It's just practice. We talking about practice.
Practice.
Shout out to Allen Iverson. That's going to be a timeless, epic rant. Yes.
I mean, if we would have thrown the ball and they wouldn't have been intercepted and so would have caught it from the 49ers and ran into the end zone, is the Niners bench going to come off and go onto the field and then, unanimously, we own, so-and-so. Like, no. But because it was a defensive player, and he could take it to the house, and it's a free door, almost a free window for him to run off. That's why the rest of the bench went too. And it's like, you nailed it, David. It's practice. Doesn't matter, but because the cameras were there, right? That's to get to your point, kind of 4 preseason games. We want to see the preseason games because we're fans, right? But they're saying, oh no, we're going to take the preseason games away so we can have these joint practices. You can still have the joint practices. Take the cameras away from the joint practices.
They used to do them.
Yeah. The Chargers came to Stockton here, and they would practice against the 49ers every
all the time.
Every summer. So again, it's like you don't have to do that. You could just have another preseason game. So
yeah. Yeah, I don't care about the trash talk and stuff. That's really a defensive thing. Like you said, like we see it all the time. A defense gets a pick six of scoop and score off a fumble, and the whole defense has to go in the end zone to celebrate and do all this. And it's like, it's the first quarter. You still got 50 minutes of football to play. I don't even know why you're celebrating right now. And in terms of like a joint practice, it's practice. We talk about practice. You jumping around celebrating like you just won the Super Bowl, and it's a preseason joint practice. Like defenders are weird in that way now. I've never understood that. And I hate it when our team does it. I really, really do. Especially after the 2019 Super Bowl. We all know what happened when they all went to the end zone to celebrate and pose for the camera. What happened after that? 21 straight points. But
and they did it again.
I digress. They did it in the Super Bowl. I ain't gonna say that. But
oh my god!
So this is similar to that Detroit Lions defensive back like Gardner Johnson waving at the 49ers crowd before halftime, right?
Yeah. I mean, that wasn't a group celebration type thing, but it was still like defenders talking trash, and there's still plenty of football to be played. Like you played for 60 minutes. You still got to stop a team for 60 minutes.
Yep.
You see who had the last laugh on that one. So defenders are weird in that way. I don't get it. The
best movie I ever seen that represents this whole conversation. Shout out to Basketball, the creators of South Park. They have this moment in the beginning, where the 49ers and the Cowboys seem to look like they were playing each other, but the athletes got so enamored and more into celebrating than actually scoring. They wanted to celebrate, so it didn't matter if they scored. They wanted to go out there. So you got like the rain dance going on and everything. It's just like this is the whole stadium now. It's like, guys, it's just the first quarter. It's just the first quarter.
It's nuts. These players today are nuts. Oh man. Well, we've gone over an hour. This has been a great conversation on a Monday night. It's good to talk some Niners stuff. I really love getting together with you guys. But what do you guys got going on the rest of the week?
Go ahead, David.
Well, Wednesday it's I go on with Ted. I think it's 3:20 p.m. PST. And then of course same night I'll have my 49er trivia that later on. I'm actually might find a guest for tomorrow night, but I don't know. It just depends on who hits me back. So,
Brian, what about you?
Yeah, so for me, just a little different things have been changing for my schedule, but just keep your notifications on, and I sometimes I go live, and I try to do something on Friday nights. We have done the Friday night show in the past. We're just airing everything out, making sure everything's working the right way, and making sure everybody's schedules is the right way as well. And then the same thing for like Saturday and Sunday, the coffee talk show and stuff. When the schedule comes back around, I'm sure there's going to be a little bit more time, but my schedule is changing a little bit. So you will probably see the notifications and the announcements it's going to be making. But yeah, definitely. If it's Saturday or Sunday and you got time, turn YouTube on. You might see me and David.
There you go. Well, everybody, the links to their channels are in the description. Make sure you like, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, get involved. Super cool guys talking Niners football. I mean, what's better than that? On Wednesday night, the schedule is going to drop. I don't know why they're waiting so long and why they got to wait till Wednesday evening. But hey, welcome to today's NFL, where everything has to be a showcase. So next week, and probably during the week, these guys will be talking about the schedule. Next week, we're coming back and we're on Bryant's channel, that guy down there, and we'll probably be talking about the schedule. So tap in. Thanks for joining us, guys. You guys have a good night. And David, take us home.
Hey, it's Go Niners, and as Corey Davis would say, F all 31 other teams.
That's right. Peace out, everybody. Stay faithful.